prefix always stays the same, but in this example of meters, 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. And then in contrast, we have the centi and the milli, which are both smaller units than the base, where 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, and 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter. But the key thing that I want you guys to understand from the metric system prefixes is that we are not in any way changing the quantity of what we are measuring. We are just changing the units that we are measuring it in. And this is so important for us as scientists and chemists to understand, because it is really how we are able to measure differing quantities that aren't in the same unit of measurement. This allows us to be able to convert them in a quick way without having to remeasure anything. We can use math to change it and change these quantities into similar ways of measurement. Okay, so a little bit more about conversion factors. So we touched on this a little bit with the days to seconds example, but with conversion bridges, they can be written in 2 different ways depending on what you want to cancel in your starting quantity to get to your end quantity. So for example, can anyone remember how many grams or how many milligrams are in a gram from the previous slide? Chris?
1,000.
Right, yeah. There's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. Awesome. So we can write that in 2 different ways depending on what we were starting with. So if we wanted to start with a quantity of milligrams, we would want to write the conversion bridge in the first way instead of the second way. Because the first way, pretend that we had milligrams on the top, our starting quantity, it would cancel with the milligrams on the bottom in this first example. Does anyone have any questions about that? No? Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's go over an example. So maybe you're in the lab and you measure 150 milligrams of copper, but you need to convert this to grams in order to compare it to the iron that you measured, that you have in grams. You want to compare the amounts of the quantity on an equal scale, so you really need to convert your milligrams to grams of copper. And so what I always like to do is I like to underline